So here we are. This is my very first ever YouTube video. What I'm going to be doing is reviewing this helicopter. It's the very first RC helicopter I've ever had. I got it where I work. I work at a sporting goods store, and they brought these in for the holiday season, and so I went ahead and bought one. I've never had a helicopter before, an RC helicopter, so this is a first for me. So let's take a closer look at it. It's called the Air Banditz IR, it's infrared, Air Falcon. Kind of a strange name. I mean, Air Falcon, don't all Falcons fly in the air? You know what I'm saying? But, whatever. Good thing is, it's got a gyro, something you wouldn't really expect at this price range. This only costs about $20. So it's a good thing that it has a gyro, and that's actually a very important thing for a helicopter this size. You can see it's pretty small. Like, here's my hand. Okay. So yeah, this is my very first ever YouTube video. I notice a lot of YouTube people that make videos for things like this, reviews. They start out with an unboxing, unboxing segment of the video. I don't really see what the big deal is with that, but to be like all the other people, let's go ahead and do an unboxing just so you can see. I do order a lot of stuff from overseas, like Chinese products. I'm into airsoft and things like that. A lot of times the packaging that those guns come in is not very exciting. It's pretty boring, plain and simple. But this one here, it kind of fits in with what you'd find at a toy store, Toys R Us, things like that. It's more exciting looking. It's a unique shaped box. It's not just like a rectangular or cube shaped box. So it looks more catered to American markets, maybe. I don't know. Kind of more standardized. I do believe it's a Chinese helicopter. What's it called? It's called NKOK. I guess that's what you call it. Never heard of the brand before. I mean, like I said, I've never really flown RC helicopters before, but I have done a lot of research on them on the internet, and so I'm kind of familiar with the different brands. The ultimate hobby grade electric helicopter brand is this brand called Blade by E-Flight, which is, I guess, part of Horizon Hobby. I still don't know if they're Chinese or American or what, but this, like I said, this brand is NKOK. I don't know how you say that. Sorry. NKOK, NKOK, I guess. Like I said, I think it's Chinese. But once again, through my research, I'm kind of familiar with all the major brands of RC helicopters. Like I said, you have Blade, you have another brand called Sima, which made a lot of the small, micro palm-sized RC helicopters. There's another brand called E-Sky. There's lots of other brands. I've never heard of this brand before, so it's kind of interesting. It might be a rebranding of some other brand, that I might be familiar with, but as far as it goes, I've never found this helicopter online through any stores or anything. The only place that seems to sell this is Academy Sports and Outdoors. That's where I got mine. Or maybe I think I've seen some Walmarts that have this. But as far as Amazon.com or RC helicopter websites like xheli.com, I don't see this offered there. So that's kind of unique about this thing. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to open this thing up and see what's inside. See what it looks like. So here we are. We're opening the box. So you see it opens right here on the top, and I guess you just pull that way, whatever. This isn't really that important, guys. I mean, it's a box. Probably gonna throw it away, but some people like this, so here we go. Let's see here. The helicopter's here somewhere. Kind of hard to do this one-handed. I'll try to promise that next time I do a video, I'll have a tripod set up. Make things a little more polished and more professional, or whatever. Here we go. Here's the helicopter. Let me look at it with my own eyes instead of through the camera screen. It looks okay. I mean, kind of looks like those, we used to see helicopters, RC helicopters, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. The big ones. They look cool, but they don't look like real helicopters. That's kind of how this looks. It looks like a scaled down version of those those big scale, you know, professional kind of hobby grade helicopters that were usually powered by gas or by, you know, by nitro fuel or glow fuel, whatever you want to call it. But kind of looks like a scaled down version of that. I guess that's kind of cool because it doesn't look as toyish as some of those, you know, supposedly scaled toy RC helicopters. You know, you have the tiny little Apache helicopters and things like that. But they kind of look like they're kind of, you know, squashed down to kind of a cartoony style, and I don't really like that too much. But I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's, you know, it looks all right. I am kind of impressed so far. I see that most of the parts here are metal. You know, you see the landing gear. It's probably kind of aluminum. The tail boom's aluminum. This is a coaxial helicopter because it has two actual propellers, you know, in line on top of each other. So therefore, it has no tail rotor. Now, I don't want to go all into helicopter physics, but basically what that means is you have counter-rotating blades. And as I understand it, that's really important to have in a small-scale helicopter for beginners. Basically, how helicopters work is on a regular helicopter that just has, you know, one set of blades, not two, but a real helicopter with just one set of blades. The blade is going to turn a certain way. Okay, it's going to, like, you know, it's going to turn this way, and that's going to in turn force the entire body of the helicopter this way when it's in flight. Okay, that's just how it works. And to counteract that, real helicopters have these tail rotors in the back, and so it's kind of like the tail rotor like pushes against that force to bring the helicopter centered. So, like I said, the normal forces of the propeller cause this effect called torque. Or it's called rotor torque, and that's what causes the helicopter. It's going to constantly be spinning like this, so that's why you have to have a tail rotor to keep it straight, because it's going to, you know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Is going to force the helicopter tail, you know, in the opposite way that the helicopter body is spinning. So that keeps it straight. Now these newer helicopters, small helicopters with these coaxial, you know, two-decker rotors, the rotors actually spin in opposite directions. So you have maybe the bottom one is spinning this way, and the top one is going to be spinning this way, and that kind of cancels out the rotor torque, and that in turn is what keeps the helicopter stable. You know, instead of drifting, like spinning like this in the air, it's gonna fly stable. Okay. Now, let's see, this is an actual, it says 5-way directional flight, but I think really with this helicopter, it's a 2-channel helicopter. So yes, it's 2.5, I don't know what the 0.5 channel really means. Let's just say it's a 2-channel helicopter. I guess that's more for a beginner. Let's look at the controller to see what's really going on here. So here's the control. Kind of like the helicopter, it seems pretty sturdy so far. I mean, it's not that flimsy. It's plastic, of course. It's not like an actual hobby grade controller. You know, it's clearly infrared. You see that there. There's infrared bulbs. You know, real hobby grade helicopters actually have actual radio antennas because that's how they communicate. You know, that's how the radio communicates with the chopper, is through an actual antenna. You know, for radio waves. But this is an infrared helicopter like most small-scale, you know, toy RC helicopters. But let's look at the controls. They seem, I mean, yeah, they're plastic, and there's a little bit of play in them, but it doesn't seem that bad. I mean, you can definitely feel the spring tension in there, and it seems like it seems kind of like it would last, you know. It seems kind of durable. Let's look at this side. Okay, so that's how it works. I guess I've seen some controllers where this is the thrust side, by the way. This is the thrust stick. I've seen a lot of controllers where the thrust stick, the neutral position is kind of in the center, and you know, you go up and down. But this one has, like, I guess, a spring in it, and it keeps the thrust stick to the neutral, or to, like, you know, to the off position. I'm not really sure how that works. I'll have to see when I fly it, but okay. So it's definitely a spring in there. What else we got here? Yeah, here's the on switch. And you have A, B, C. That's kind of neat. I mean, I did read on the box. It's tri-band. Let's see. Tri-band. Fly up to 3 helicopters at the same time. So it didn't really explain that, but what I believe that means is A, B, C. They're different colors. Is there a color coding on this somewhere? No, I mean, I thought maybe they mean like there's a red helicopter, or, you know, yellow or, you know, blue or something like that. You know, in the color of the helicopter, it depends on the radio frequency. But maybe it's just random. You have to just figure it out. Yeah, because so far I don't see any markings that show which band this helicopter is. But we'll figure that out in a few minutes. Back to the control, yeah. So there you have your A, B, C channels. So that means you can fly with, you know, 2 other friends. If you're flying your helicopter, you can fly with someone else that maybe has the A band helicopter, and then someone that has the C band. So you can fly them all in the same room. You know, just fly them around each other and have fun, I guess. I used to have a cheapy remote control airplane, and it had a controller just like this, actually. So if I remember correctly, yeah, this slides down, and this is where the actual charging cord comes out. Here. Kind of hard to do this with just one hand. So there's the charging plug. I kind of like that because I used to have like I said, one of those cheapy RC airplanes, and the charging plug was like a really, really cheapy plastic little tab thing. So this is kind of a nice, more, you know, typical plug. Looks like it might last longer. And let's see on the helicopter, where does it go in the helicopter? And yeah, see, there's a little circular. I don't know if you can see it very well with this resolution camera, but there's the plug right there. Where you input the charging cable. So yeah, basically to recap, the control looks okay. You know, looks like, I guess this is for the thrust or the up and down fly. You know, up and down of the helicopter, and this is the left and right. You know, that's yawing. I'm pretty sure these 2-channel helicopters, that's all they can really do, is they can fly up and down, and then yaw left and right, you know, or I should yaw left and yaw right when they're flying. Now that's the 2 channels, right? So you have the thrust is 1 channel, and then you have the yaw or the turning is the 2nd channel. So that's 2 channels. And you're probably wondering, well, how does it fly then if it's just up and down, left and right? How does it go forward? What I believe is going on in these helicopters, I think they have some weights in the canopy here in the nose, like a metal weight, like lead weight or something like that, and that keeps the nose heavier than the rest of the helicopter. You know, all the weight is centered in the front, and because of that, it makes the rotor disc, or you know, the angle of the rotors, it makes it more, instead of flat trajectory like this, it's going to make the rotor disc like that, you know. So that's going to create forward thrust like this, you know. So basically, yeah, I guess that's how you're going to fly. It's going to take off, but as soon as it takes off, it's going to be going forward. So you're just going to be changing the way it flies left or right, you know, when it's flying forward. And that seems pretty easy as long as you don't fly it into a wall or something. I guess it can't hover, you know. Most RC helicopters, you might think they hover, and then they can go left or right or backward or back to hover, then back to forward and things like. It looks like you can't do that with this, but you know, that might be a good thing. You know, less parts, second brake, less controls to worry about. So this might be a good helicopter for a beginner, and we'll see about that in a sec when I actually start flying it. But first I'm going to have to charge it for a bit, and then I'll be back after we charge it. Let's see. if I can hook the charging plug up to this thing. Once again, sorry about the camera thing. I'll try to get a tripod. There we go. That's how you charge it. Actually, right now I really don't have any batteries in it, but I think that's how you do it. You plug it right into the socket there, and then you switch this to on, and I think a light pops on. I think it's, I don't know how it works. I think it's red to mean to charge, and then once it's done charging, it turns to green, maybe, or maybe it just turns off. I don't know. There's a manual in here. I guess I should have mentioned that. There's a manual in the box. I don't know how good the instructions are, but a lot of times if these are from China, the English is not very good. It's kind of hard to understand. But, you know, since this is kind of a specialty product that's in American retail stores like Academy and things like that, it's probably going to have a little higher quality control. You know, yeah, and it seems like it does. I mean, it's not a typical Chinese that you'd find in some airsoft gun you order on the internet, you know, or some other RC helicopter. This looks like it's been edited over, and it looks like it's pretty well done. Instruction manual. But that's that. So I'll go get some batteries and I'll be back, and I'll fire this thing up, see how it does. Well, I'm back with the helicopter. Got some batteries in the charger, and you can see that it's actually charging now. I did a little bit of research on the internet about this helicopter, and I read the manual a little bit. There's the manual. Basically, you're going to want to charge this thing for about 20 minutes, 15, 20, or 30 minutes. Oh, there you go. The charge light just went off. Didn't it? Yeah. That's good timing, I guess. So yeah, you charge about maybe 20 minutes, and you'll get about 4 to 5 minutes of flight. That might be kind of a high estimate. It might be 3 to 4 minutes actually, but you know the manual says it's 4 to 5 minutes. So let's see what it's got. So after you're done charging it, you're gonna turn the controller switch to off again. Then you're going to unplug your chopper very carefully. Then you can just slide this back up. If you want to keep flying and charging it, you can just leave it like this. That's what I usually do. Or if you want, you can kind of coil this back up and put it back in the compartment, you know, just so it's more comfortable. And let's look at the helicopter. Got the fly bars on it. It's only got one fly bar hinge. I guess I don't know if you really see that. This little fly bar attachment right here. Can't really see. It's probably kind of blurry, but I think that's okay. Most better grade helicopters have one on each side. This one only has it on one side. But since this is a gyro helicopter, it's probably not a problem. But what the fly bar does is it kind of keeps the helicopter stable this way. You know, a gyro helicopter keeps the helicopter stable this way, like it's rotating. Okay, because it has like an actual computer that keeps it rotating this way, and the fly bar kind of keeps the helicopter stable this way and this way and such like that. You know. So let's actually turn the helicopter on. There's an on switch on the bottom here. And look at there, you get some lights. And see how this front light is flashing a bit. And then you can see, I read that there's not the gyro inside, the gyro chip inside actually blinks for a few seconds and then goes solid. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to turn it on, turn the helicopter on. You're supposed to put it on a flat surface for a few minutes. You can see it's blinking, and then it's got solid. What that does is the computer inside the helicopter is kind of deciding which way is up. So when you lay it on a flat surface, the computer chip finds the direction that's up, and that's how it keeps the helicopter stable in flight. So look at those nice flashing lights in the front and back. Now let's actually turn it on, give it a little bit of juice. and then I'll actually get my tripod set up and we'll actually fly it, through the room. But just want to show you what it's like. Just whoa, see, it's already going forward a little bit. You can see that. Yeah, well, I'm actually gonna fly it in a sec here. But yeah, that's just to show the forward motion of the helicopter. All right.
Alright, here we go, we're taking off, and pretty easy control. It goes where you want it to, like it goes where you point it, I could say. Very stable, I guess that's because it has the gyro in it, It keeps straight unless you actually turn the control. I can pretty much move it where I want it to go, I do some flybys by the camera, see that, get lower to the ground. I do notice it seems to go faster when I get it closer to the ground, and also when you take off. It right when you take off, it seems to fly very fast up until you get it to a higher altitude. And then it starts to kind of, stable out and it slows down a bit once you get it at a higher altitude, maybe like 5 feet. So be careful flying near the ground. Look at this. I like the lights. It's a nice touch. So I'm gonna try to land it here. There we go. So to recap, you saw how it performed. It performs very well. Um, it's not too fast. Like I said, the first time I flew it, I had some trouble getting it off the ground because if you just give it a little bit of throttle, just to where it goes up maybe 2 inches off the ground. If you do that, it's gonna start kind of like gliding across the floor or the carpet at a very, very high rate. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure you give it enough throttle to where it can get up at least 5 feet off the ground, and by that time the stabilizer bar is going to force the helicopter to come down to a slower speed, and that way it's going to kind of slowly creep along the room at a much slower speed, and that way it'll be much easier to control, especially for younger pilots. Okay, now that's one thing. Yeah, there's less controls because it's a two channel. It means it's just going to go forward, left, and right, and then up and down. um, so like, yeah, it's less controls. Now that might be a problem, because you do have to steer. You have to constantly be steering it. You have to constantly be mindful of where the helicopter is headed because it's always going to be flying forward. That means if you're going to be flying it up to a wall or something, you have to be careful to time your turning just right so you don't crash into a wall. Whereas a 3 or 4 channel helicopter, it has the ability to hover, where you could just let go of the directional controls and then the helicopter would hover in place. This one doesn't do that, okay? So that's both a pro and a con, okay? But because of its simplified nature, that could be a good thing because it's less controls to memorize, for a new pilot. In terms of durability, I didn't really show you too much footage of me flying it. I've actually flown it much longer than the video would have you believe. I've flown it maybe 20 times by now. I've crashed it. It's fell out of the sky a few times. It's crashed into walls, and each time it seems to be just fine. There's no noticeable like bending or anything because it's got an aluminum body. Okay, that's kind of unusual for a helicopter in this price range. It's got the aluminum, skeletal body, which is very durable and retains its shape. Okay, and the lights still work. From crashing a few times. I wish I had shown some more footage of crashing, but I just, this is already getting to be a pretty long video. Um, but yeah, it's very easy to control. It's not too powerful. It's not too fast. Um, Battery time is about average for this type of helicopter, I'd say. Um, but yeah, I'd say it's a very good first helicopter for anyone who wants to get into this hobby. It is a bit toyish, but that's kind of where you have to start. You got to start somewhere, and I look forward to playing around with this helicopter for a while, and maybe my next helicopter will probably be a little more advanced than this. I'm gonna keep moving up, moving up. This is a good starting point for me and for anyone actually. All right, well, thanks for watching my video, and that's about it. If you want this helicopter, you probably can get it where I got it at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Although I think it was more of a seasonal item for the winter holidays. I'm pretty sure my store, they're not going to have any more in stock right now, but they might. You never know. Um, you might be able to find them online on eBay or Amazon.com also. I'm not sure. Maybe Walmart might even have it. You just have to look around for it. All right. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.